Cost is also something whereby we have a lot of sort of friction, personally ourselves, when it comes down to certain payment methods, because generally or typically they're more expensive than Visa and MasterCard. So Visa and MasterCard effectively have created what we would call in payments a benchmark. And that benchmark really comes down to, how much it costs to transact through Visa and MasterCard. So there are things called interchange and scheme fees. The interchange fees are obviously made up between sort of the issuer, the acquirer, and ultimately the scheme, in terms of how much it costs to make that transaction between the four different sort of parties involved and the merchant. I forgot about the merchant there. So that's sort of the benchmarking sort of process. So let's say, for example, for sake of argument, that's 1%, in order to accept Visa and MasterCard. So when you turn around to somebody and say, look, I've got this really great method, it's going to enable somebody to deposit with, say, cash as an example. So it sort of opens up a completely different type of customer, somebody that perhaps doesn't have traditional access to sort of the banking system. Maybe they do not have access to sort of a debit or credit card. And also maybe because, look, they're cash rich and they would far rather sort of make a transaction that way. You're almost sort of closing yourself off to a complete sort of customer base in itself. So we regularly sort of have these conversations with people in terms of sort of growing and expanding really, their idea of something. Which is really important to understand, when thinking sort of about cost itself.